Okay, day 365. I made it a year. I'm happy we made it together. So it's always good to wake up the next day. So we're moving into the timeline phase. And what I plan on doing is just concentrating on the key events, the key milestone events that have occurred along the way, and then just ask the audience and contributors to think about these things logically and figure out what the next logical step is in the investigation. It's always about the next logical step to breaking this down. Today I'm going to add Ra'u Abbas, or RAO, RAO Abbas, RAO Speedwagon Abbas. Everybody knows who RAO is. RAO is still working for the Congress, still potentially logging in illegally to the Democratic Caucus server. So RAO gets hired, I believe, just after he gets hired in the third quarter of 2012. That, I believe, is just after Obama wins re-election, and they feel like, okay, now Imran can go to Pakistan for 3 months a year, whether it's programming projects or help his dad on the farms with USAID. We don't know. We know he's gone there before to help out his dad in court with 12 different farmers in Faisalabad, so that's not such a wild, preposterous assumption. Plus, in court and at the hearing, we have heard that, yes, Mr. Imran Awan goes frequently for 3 months at a time. So that is a congressional employee making $166,000 a year going to Pakistan for 3 months out of the year. You need someone to fill in. You need someone to fill in. Now, these guys have been going to school together. I would assume 2 Pakistani guys that went to school together, both in the IT department at Johns Hopkins. Of course, that's the information we've been presented. So they've known each other since college, okay? If you look at Imran Awan's career, it's almost Ra'u Abbas just kind of follows along. Maybe a couple years, maybe 3 or 4 years, but it just seems like wherever Imran goes, Ra'u Abbas goes as well. So I'm not saying Ra'u is a member of a royal family or anything like that, and Imran is a part of the entourage to protect him or anything like that. I'm just saying that they seem to be almost inseparable. Then the next thing that happens, though, is, as you know, RAO was fired from McDonald's in the IT department. We don't have the reasons for that, if it was a sexual harassment or what exactly occurred. But we do know that Hasib Rana, who has spoken to the Daily Caller, and Luke Rosiak, gets hired right after RAO comes to the Congress. Now, I believe he goes on the congressional books, but there's a break between Thanksgiving and the first of the new year when Congress comes back into session. So they have time to bring in a replacement. So I don't think the lack of IT skills here for Ra'u, I think he's more of a video guy, to be honest with you. I think that really never gets exposed, so he stays on the books. But he is on the books, and he's not working in Congress. He's not showing. He still has a badge for the U.S. Congress, still getting paid to this day out of Deutsch's office. So I think that needs to be looked into. Hasib Rana, okay, takes over for 2 years. He works there for 2 years, and then he finally quits because, according to Luke Rosiak, he's just overworked. He's doing all these different jobs. I think he's doing the jobs for more than just Congress. I think he's doing the jobs for several other U.S. agencies as well, including CENTCOM and the State Department. Maybe part of Anthony Weiner's trusted staff, who knows. But we all know what happens then next is that February, the St. Valentine's Day order last year of 150 iPhones to Imran's house is a big no-no. Now, we've come to know in just one day Theresa Grafenstine. Theresa Grafenstine has videos out there. I've tweeted those videos out there. I've listened to her interview here at FedScope. She's been associated with the House of Representatives for 19 years. That's directly off her own LinkedIn. Now, I know she spent some time as the Penn Fed auditor, and before that, when she first started her career, she was going around to different Air Force bases and Marine bases and so forth. So I believe that this person, starting, she puts on her own resume, starts in 1998 with the U.S. Congress in various forms of audit. She has to be aware of this CDW issue that comes out last year. She has to be aware of it. Now, she has known Imran Awan for 17 years. She's known about this situation. This has to come to the attention of an inspector general, an audit of someone misdirecting 150 phones for members of Congress. She has worked in the Congress and known Imran Awan for 17 years. So she has to be aware of this situation. Okay, so let's move forward a little bit. Remember that their office comes up with a report of 5,400 illegal logins leading up to the election. April, we don't know exactly what day it starts. I just wanted to know the start date and end date of the investigation. But 5,400 logins, 5,100 of which are not authorized. Again, she wrote that report. She would have to know about that report. This is where Senator Grassley, probably this is the first person I would talk to. I would say, hey, you're the Inspector General. You do the financial audits every year. These people were being paid by congressional dollars. You do the audits every year. What is the deal with all these people? What is the deal with these people that are not in the country for 3 months out of the year and they're transferring terabytes of information to Pakistan? What do you know about that? This would be my first witness at any kind of congressional hearing with Chuck Grassley. Okay, so now there's a credit union fraud scheme as well. So they're transferring money from the Congressional Federal Credit Union. I don't know if it's going to be from the Longworth office building or if it's going to be from the Rayburn office building. The illegal loans for the Sprayer Street and the Hawkshead loans for the Congressional Credit Union are actually in a branch in Virginia called the Oakton branch. So this is where if you had some friend in Fairfax County where you had air cover, you would never be prosecuted if you did all your loans through the Oakton branch. I think the loans are going to be taken in the Oakton branch for all the fake employees, all the ghost employees, and I believe personalities are going to be taken over and identities are going to be stolen from the Penn Federal or the Pentagon Federal Credit Union and then going to be transferred over here to the Congressional Federal Credit Union. That's what I believe is happening for different people coming into the country and getting identities, getting loans, getting jobs. Okay, so here again, 20 congressional burglaries on the night of the inauguration on this year, on the night of the inauguration. How would Theresa Grafenstine not know about that? 20 congressional burglaries. She's the Inspector General. She would have to know about that situation. She would have to have the copy of the police report. Of course, if you're the Inspector General, you would have to have a copy of that police report. She would have had to have known where the server was. I watched her interview. She's very adept in IT. She's very knowledgeable about IT standards and so forth. She's very adept in backup and recovery. Now, she could have been an unwitting victim here easily, because in backup and recovery, you do mirrored servers. If that mirrored server was off-site at, let's say, the Navy Yard or wherever Imran told her it was, maybe the Navy Yard was the backup site for the disaster recovery. That also makes it a perfect target, though, for hacking. Okay, remember, terabytes of information transferred 3 months at a time to Pakistan. Okay, now here's Imran Awan. Now remember, she's working here this whole time. Imran Awan now caught by the Capitol Police. First, this break-in here gets Imran banned on February the 2nd. Becerra gives a false image to the Capitol Police. He leaves and goes to California to become the Attorney General out there. So there was a crime committed there with false evidence. But here, when I'm coming down to Virginia and to look at all the houses, this big deletion happens on April the 6th. Again, Theresa Grafenstine would have to know about that. This is a break-in. This is a break-in. Here again, now she's still at the House IG when I come down here and this story breaks and I break the story about the Pride hard drives and the equipment now being over at the Lorton home, the Hawkshead home. Now remember, he's still working, when I go there, he's still working for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And he continues to work there until he's arrested on the 25th of July. She, again, would had to have known about that. This is in the press, you know. She just left, so she would have had to know about the arrest. None of this stuff has come forward. I believe for this information to have leaked to the Washington Post, the 5,100 logins, someone in that office must have leaked that information to Sean Boberg. So, my upshot here, the first witness that I call if I'm Chuck Grassley, my first witness is going to be Theresa Grafenstine.